apartment complex with my girlfriend Rachel. It's nothing fancy, just one of those older places with a shared stairwell and a tiny lobby area where everyone gets their mail. The walls are thin, the neighbors are mostly quiet, and life has been pretty uneventful. At least it was until a few weeks ago. I don't really know how to explain it. It started off small, almost like a mistake. But now it's gotten under my skin in a way I can't shake. A couple of weeks ago, I came home from work like usual. I was pretty wiped. It had been one of those days where nothing went right, and all I wanted to do was kick back on the couch. On my way upstairs, I stopped at a little set of mailboxes by the lobby to grab our mail. Most of it was junk, bills, a couple of flyers, and this newspaper. It was weird because we don't subscribe to any papers. Neither of us even reads the news unless it's online, so I figured it must have been a mistake. Maybe someone else in the building got a subscription and the mailman messed up. I carried it up the stairs and tossed the mail onto the kitchen counter. When Rachel saw the newspaper, she raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "Must be for someone else." She picked it up and flipped through it. It was one of those subscription-only local papers, the kind that comes with crosswords, ads, and random community updates. "Yeah, just leave it downstairs," she said. "Whoever it's for will grab it." That made sense, so I took it back downstairs and left it on the little table by the mailboxes. End of story, right? Wrong. The next day when I came home, the same paper was back in our mailbox. At first, I thought it was just a mix-up again, but something about it felt deliberate, like it wasn't a random mistake. I brought it upstairs and showed Rachel. "It's back," I said. She frowned. "Are you sure it's the same one?" I nodded. "Yeah, I remember the date on the front page." This time, we decided to just throw it away. Rachel shrugged it off, saying it was probably just a coincidence, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. Then, 2 days later, it happened again. Same paper, same mailbox. I decided to actually open it this time, thinking maybe there'd be a name or address on it to figure out where it was supposed to go. But as I flipped through the pages, something caught my eye. It was on the crossword page. At first, it looked normal, just a standard crossword puzzle, but then I noticed the letters in some of the clues. They were bolded, almost like they'd been printed darker than the rest of the text. When I put the letters together, they spelled out, "I know where you live." I was thinking, it's odd, but yeah, sure, they know because that's how they put the mail in our mailbox, right? I know it sounds stupid, like maybe it was just some weird coincidence or a prank, but it felt so specific. I showed Rachel and she went pale. "This ain't funny," she said. We argued for a bit about what to do. She wanted to ignore it, to just throw it away and forget about it. But I couldn't let it go. What if someone really was messing with us? The next day, I stayed home from work to see if I could catch whoever was leaving the paper. I sat in the living room, staring out the window at the mailboxes, waiting for the mailman to come by. When he finally showed up, I ran downstairs. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "Do you know who this paper's for? It keeps ending up in my mailbox." He looked at it and shook his head. "Not mine to say," he said. "I just deliver what they give me." That didn't help at all. I brought the paper back upstairs and Rachel wasn't happy about it. "Why didn't you just leave it down there?" she asked. "Because I want to figure out what's going on." When I opened the paper this time, there was another message. It was written in the margins of one of the pages in tiny, neat handwriting. "Stop asking questions." That's when Rachel really started freaking out. She wanted to call the police, but what could we even tell them? That we were getting creepy newspapers in the mail? It wasn't like anyone had threatened us directly, and there was no way to prove who was behind it. Still, we decided to be more careful. We kept the door locked at all times, and I started walking Rachel to her car in the mornings, just in case. The papers kept coming though. Sometimes there'd be a crossword with another weird message. Sometimes there'd be a picture of something random, like a park bench or a street sign, but it would always be somewhere we recognized. It was like whoever was doing this was trying to show us that they are watching, that they knew where we went and what we did. The worst part was the not knowing. Was it a neighbor? Someone we worked with? A stranger? A week ago, I found something else in the mailbox. It wasn't a paper this time, but an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single piece of paper with the words, "You've been warned." Rachel and I don't know what to do anymore. We haven't called the police because nothing's actually happened, but we are both on edge all the time. Every time I go downstairs to check the mail, I'm half expecting to find another paper, another message. It's like we are being watched, but we don't know why or by who. So yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know if this is going to stop or if it's going to get worse, but I figured I'd put this out there in case anyone else has been through something similar. If you've got any advice, I'm all ears. I live in this shared apartment complex in a rough neighborhood. It's not like I had a lot of options when I moved in. Money was tight and this place was the only thing I could afford. It's a 4-story building and I live on the ground floor, which seemed fine at first. But man, if I'd known how things would turn out, I might have just couch surfed with friends instead. I guess I should start from the beginning. When I first moved in, everything seemed okay. Sure, the building's a little rundown and the neighborhood sketchy, but I figured I could handle it. I kept to myself, work my job, and try to make things work. But living on the ground floor, it's been a nightmare. First off, there's so much foot traffic. People come and go all day, slamming doors, yelling in the halls, and stomping around like they've never heard of being considerate. The neighbors on my floor are especially bad. There's this one family that always leaves their door open, like wide open all the time. It's right across from mine, so I can't even step out without feeling like I'm intruding on their space. They're always yelling at each other, at their kids, at whoever's on the phone with them. The dad drinks too much and blasts music at random hours. The mom smokes in the hallway even though it's technically not allowed, and their kids run up and down the halls screaming. At first, I tried to ignore it. I mean, what could I do? It's their home too, right? But then stuff started to feel off. There's this guy, one of the neighbors on my floor. I don't even know his name. He's probably in his 40s, always wears the same stained tank top, and looks like he hasn't shaved or even showered in weeks. He's always outside his door, just hanging out, watching people come and go. At first, he just nodded or said hi when I passed by, which was fine. But then he started trying to make small talk every time he saw me. "Hey, where you're headed? You live alone, huh? That must be nice. You should come by sometime, I'll make your dinner." I tried to keep things polite but distant. A quick smile, yeah, maybe, and I'd hurry into my apartment. But he didn't take the hint. Every time I came home, there he was, like he was waiting for me. And the comments got creepier. "You should smile more. You're too pretty to live in a place like this. You'd be safer if you spent more time with me." I told myself he was just lonely or awkward, but it started to make me feel really uncomfortable. I began timing my comings and goings to avoid him, waiting until I could hear him go back inside before leaving my apartment. But even then, I'd hear his door creak open when I was halfway down the hall and his voice would follow me. Things got worse about a month ago. I came home late one night and the hallway was dark. One of the bulbs had burned out again, and the landlord's too cheap to replace them right away. I was fumbling with my keys when I heard his door open behind me. "Hey," he said. I froze. "You shouldn't be out so late. It's not safe for a girl like you." I didn't turn around. I just mumbled something about being tired and hurried inside. When I closed the door, I could hear him still standing out there, breathing heavily. After that, I started feeling trapped. I didn't want to leave my apartment unless I absolutely had to. I even started ordering groceries online so I wouldn't have to walk past this door. But I couldn't avoid him forever. One morning, I was rushing to catch the bus for work and he was waiting for me in the hallway. He stepped in front of me, blocking my path. "You've been avoiding me," he said, smiling. I forced a laugh. No, just busy. You should come by tonight, he said. I've got beer and we can watch a movie. You shouldn't be alone so much. I managed to squeeze past him and practically ran to the bus stop. The whole ride to work I couldn't stop thinking about how close he'd gotten, how I could smell the sweat and alcohol on him. When I got home that evening, there was a note taped to my door. You are too good for this place. Come by and let me take care of you. I tore it down and threw it away, but my hands were shaking. I didn't sleep that night at all. The next day, I told Jane, one of my co-workers, about it. She said I should report him, but to who? The landlord doesn't care about anything unless it costs him money, and the cops wouldn't do anything unless he actually threatened me or tried to hurt me. Jane said I should move, but that's easier said than done. I don't have the money for a deposit on a new place, and finding something affordable in this city is next to impossible. Since then, the encounters have been getting worse. A few nights ago, I heard a knock on my door around midnight. I didn't answer, but I looked through the peephole. It was him. He was just standing there, swaying a little like he was drunk, mumbling something I couldn't hear. He stayed there for what felt like forever before finally leaving. Yesterday, I find another note. This one wasn't taped to my door. It was shoved under it. I know you're scared, but you don't have to be. Just give me a chance. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like a prisoner in my own home. I've started looking into legal advice, but it's not like he's done anything illegal. He hasn't touched me or made any explicit threats. I don't feel safe here. But I don't know how to get out. If anyone's been through something similar or knows what I can do, please let me know. I'm desperate.